So we're back with this Sony DAT deck, second time. We've got it all fixed, it was working and quite happy with it, rewinding, etc. But after further use, playing some longer tapes, it got a while and then it just stops. And basically what happens is the take-up spool just stops taking up, and of course the tape loops and the machine shuts down. But luckily, always when you eject, it rewinds back into the cassette. So let's just see if I can show that, although it's been off overnight, and whether how much difference that's going to make. But I left it in a position with a tape in it to see if it will do it. I'll show you. Too much glare on this. No, just about okay there. Show you what it's doing. It's not a particularly long tape, but it just seems to be, after it's playing for a while, about a minute or two, about the second track in of a tape, and it just basically, the take-up spool just suddenly starts to just sort of slow down a little, judder a little bit. So basically what I'm considering is that all the mechanism, although I've retensioned that take-up drive belt by adjusting the motor, the actual mechanism, take-up spools and so on, there's probably some grease in there which over the time has dried up. So really what I'm going to do is to strip the take-up spool drive assembly down, take the spools off, clean them and lubricate them with some grease. But as you can see, it's still working. Typical. Go to the dentist, oh, I haven't got a toothache anymore. You know the feeling. But no, the fault is not showing up at the moment. I suppose I could leave it going and then come back. I think I'm just going to jump in there and do it anyway, because it was definitely doing it. I've done it on several tapes and I got really annoying because I just started recording and then all of a sudden it stops and annoying. Right, let's do it anyway. Stop, eject. Give me that tape. There it is. This is one of a batch of tapes that I bought from eBay. Got a very kind seller who gave me a discount in the end after a bit of bartering. I managed to get 15 tapes, 2 of which looked like original master copies of something. So whether they were or not, we don't know. Right, so to work on this, we take the front cover off and really and truly should put the tape in. Then we've got the 3 screws that hold the deck in. 1, 2, 3. Then we have cables. I can get the hold of the plug on that one. That ribbon. And then get my puller on this plug. Like that. And then this one as well. Get my puller on that one. There we are. So now the deck should lift out. Right, let's get the chassis out of the way. Okay, so to get at the take-up spools, it's on this plastic bit under here, which is under here. So we need to first off take off this board, which has got, we've already covered this, but just in case you haven't watched the other video, link in the description, and 2 silver screws down here. I can't remember now whether I actually did on that video have the bit I've since solved my OBS problems, hopefully, he says. And then there's one in the middle. But if I didn't include it, what I did previously, this take-up drive belt here was flopping about and clicking, causing a clicking. So what I did was, to prove it wasn't the motor, I took the motor out. I'll take this deck out and show you, and then reposition the motor. Right, so that's that out. So then we've got one screw here. Did I get that screw out or not? No, there it is. Got it in the end. There's that one. And then there's one down here. Get rid of the magnet. And where's the other screw? There's another. Oh yeah, it's a silver one on the front. Here. And that should release the whole of the deck spool assembly, which we jiggle out gently. And we can turn it around and get at it. So when it was in the last repair, basically I wasn't sure whether this motor was running properly. So I decided to take it out. This belt seemed to be very slack. It was very, very much more slack than this. So I took the motor off, connected it up to a power supply and left it running for a couple of hours just in case it had got a dead spot on the commutator or whatever. And then I put it back in, and luckily there's two adjustments on the positioning of the motor, so I was able to tension against this belt because I looked and I couldn't get a replacement belt. Okay, so one of the things you need to be careful of with these decks is these little plastic spigots that hold the plastic bits in. They can pop off and go flying, and they're not like little circlips. They are little plastic. Well, they're like circlips, but they're made of plastic. So just need to be careful, because I did, one fell out and I thought, oh, where's that come from? And then I managed to find out where it goes. It was one of those four there, or that one there, I can't remember which. Anyway, when this solenoid operates here, it releases these brakes, and when this solenoid here operates, it applies this brake. Now with that brake removed, these should turn quite easily, and they do, which is why it's very confusing that it was stopping take up. So what I'm going to do, just to make sure lubrication is okay, I'm going to take these two spools off. So to take that one off, we just need a little fine screwdriver or point. Put your finger on it, put it underneath the circlip and twist. There is a little split in it. So twist that. Let me get another little tray. That one's got stuff stuck on the bottom. The old bottle tops, they come in really handy. This appears to have, I've not taken these off before, these appear to have a secondary washer on top, which doesn't seem to want to come off easily. Let's try a slightly bigger screwdriver. Is that part? Oh no, it is part of it. Sorry. There's me thinking it was a washer. It's actually the top part of that. So that's off there. There's the little reflectors. There's a spring. Anything else on there? But it feels nice and smooth. I'm going to give it a clean off. Then I'm going to apply silicone oil. Which is just slightly more liquidy. I'm going to apply that to the top of this. Just a little tiny little drop. Put the spring back on. Release the brake. Right, so with no brakes applied, spins really nice. So I'm quite happy with that. The little split washer back on. Come on. Just make sure that brake is properly off. That's it. Okay, so that's that one. Alright. Same again with this one. Let's spin the clean off. Sometimes you can just push them straight on. Does that go on? Yep. Make sure that one's still okay. And the other thing I'm just going to do, because these brakes can slide back and forwards, I'm just going to take these little circlips off and just lubricate underneath those levers. So these are a little bit difficult to get off at times. Again, it's just a little twist, but you just need to make sure you don't let it fly off. There it is. Tweezers come in handy. I think I'll take this lever off, and that one's got a proper circlip under there. That comes off there. And then that one. This one just comes off, doesn't it? Or is it? Yeah, I can't. Off there. So let's pull that little brake lever off there. Just give that little brake pad a little wipe over. Pop a little bit of silicone oil where it turns. There we go, just a tiny weeny drop. I mean, you can use watchmaker's oil or oh, we won't do the other one as well, don't we? So let's take that off again for a minute. I'll take this one off and do the same, just to make sure these brakes do release when they should do. See, now that came off but dropped away. There we are. Little drop of silicone on there. See if we can pop these little clips back on. And then put that one. And we'll just put a little bit of silicone on that one. And guess what? I've knocked it somewhere, that little circlet that came off there. Oh. Right, well, I couldn't find, I've searched and searched and searched, it's not on the floor, well, at least I couldn't see it, this thing, and I found an old bit of failed 3D print and cut a corner off it and drilled a 1.5mm hole in there, pushed it on, it goes on but it comes straight back off again, just sort of partially catches, so it actually needs to be a 1mm hole. So I've cut another piece out and drilled a 1mm hole, and I'm hoping that that's going to clip in there. I don't think it's going to get in the way of anything, so hopefully I can push that on there. I'm being careful not to wiggle it too much. Oh, 1mm is just a touch too small. Which I might use something a bit big and just grind it out that way until it fits. So much for clumsiness. I wish I didn't even have it on my hand. I must have touched it and then flicked it somewhere. It's so annoying, that is. But that's too much now. Yeah, I've done it too much. Have I? Oh, I know you can get kits of these washers. Okay, that's caught on. That's caught now. There is another way of doing this, and I'm loath to do it, but that's to just heat it slightly, the top bit that's come through with the soldering iron, and just meld it down a bit. Right. Very gently just push it down a little bit. There we are. So that's now held on there. Okay. Now, I did watch a few other videos that other people have worked on these, and one of the videos was mentioned several times that these screws on this solenoid can work loose. So just a precautionary measure, they don't appear to be loose, but on a precautionary measure I'm going to tighten them up. Yeah, that's nice and tight. So that does put the brakes on there, doesn't it? And so with that one released, yeah, that's spinning nicely. Okie dokie. Anything else on here? Don't think so, no. That's the loading gear and everything, so that can all just drop back in there nicely. It's just the awkward thing with this is these wires that are stuck to the side. Just got to be careful that you don't get them caught under. There's a screw that sticks out, so get the wire above that and then it drops in as it should sit nicely there. There you go. Make sure it's nice and firm down and in place before you put the screws in, because if you don't get the gears right and you've put the screws in, you can tear down the gears. So that's the threading mechanism. That's okay. So let's get that silver screw in first. And you've got a long screw that goes, let's just make sure we get the right one. Yeah, it's that one. And then one over there. And then the other thing you have to be careful of is these wires. They drag over the top of that belt. And I thought when I first saw this, it's a bit odd that the belt, that those wires are just not, you can see them in there, they're just not held out of the way of that drive belt. They just rest there. There is like a clip there, but let's push that one. Can we get a little thin bit of wire under here? hold it with tweezers to pull that up. Where's it gone? Let's get the screw in there first. I suppose a cable tie might be even better. But that's definitely pulling it clear of that pulley, isn't it? Where are we? Yeah, definitely that's pulling that clear of the pulley. There's no wires on top. Let's give that a go, shall we? Let's just balance that on there for now. Actually, I need to balance. Let's just put them down there, and that should work there. Not coming into contact with anything that it shouldn't. Power on. And we've definitely got sound because I can see the level meters moving. I just saw the take-up spool judder. I'm sure I did. There it goes. Gosh damn. So it's not fixed. Although, have I got this? Oh yeah. That was rubbing against that pulley. Right. It was resting against the pulley under here. So that's probably why. Okay. Let's just leave that going and see if that conks out. I'll leave the video capturing it and see. So we are now, what time do we have? We're on 14 seconds and 24 on the recording. I do think it's fixed. So it should get more than 2/3 of the way through the tape. I'll be back. Just need to do some health checks. Right, appears to have stopped and rewound. I'll have to look at that tape, but what I'm going to do now is take this tape out and put another tape in which is longer, which has got lots of music on it. Now this one, where I've tried transferring this several times, has got no further than track 2. So let's go back to there. Right, let's put it into play. So let's leave that going for now. I'll be back. Right, well, I think 30 minutes worth of playback time. It certainly proves that it's working. I'm going to let it go for the whole length of this tape and see what it does. Right, well, as you can see, it's now been playing for 1 hour and 9 minutes, so I'm pretty sure we have fixed this fault. I hope that's proved enjoyable for you. Been doing a few other things in the meantime, including repairing some broken feet on an amplifier which I bought for a video repair, which I hope to get on there. It's a big Yamaha amplifier, millions of inputs and stuff, but apparently it's dead. So hopefully it's a power supply, nice easy power supply fault, or it could be something more complicated. We'll see that in another video. Anyway, basically what I've got to do now is put it back together and start using it. So I'm going to say thanks very much for watching this video. Hope you've enjoyed it, and I really do appreciate you visiting the channel. And of course, if you want to subscribe, please do. If not, don't. A like is always useful. So thanks very much. And I do waffle on, don't I? So bye for now.